because okay. So I have a niece and she is super into musicals. And so, we kind of bond over that. I'm also a musical theater kid. Every single time, she's recently gotten into this musical, I put quotation marks around that. Uh, but she got into this musical. I don't know if you guys have heard of it, but it's called Epic the Musical. Now, all things considered, I really should have liked it the first go around. Because I listened to it before. Because my niece kept pestering me about, like, have you listened to Epic the Musical every single time that I came over to visit? And so I'd given it a few tries before, but I just never really could get into it too much. I don't know why either. Because, like, hypothetically, it should have been, like, a recipe for a musical that I would absolutely adore. Because I love Greek mythology, and I love musicals. So, one would think, perhaps, that I would like it. Because I absolutely adored Hadestown. And so, it's similar concept as well, I would say. Oh, this is gonna take a while. But it's like a similar concept. A musical based on a Greek myth with some unconventional music attached to it that's not typical of musicals. So hypothetically, I should have really liked it, but I just could not get behind it the first few listens to I had. And then I think like the Ithaca saga recently came out, and then I listened to like the final song in that album, and something about that song, dude, just completely altered my brain chemistry about the whole thing, because now I can appreciate it for what it is. And I think it's just because it's labeled as a musical when, I don't know, personally, it's not a conventional musical by any means. At least to my only did like 3 musicals understanding of a musical. Like, I actually had a couple conversations over the break with 2 different friends who both had their own opinions on Epic. Oh, poo, Emily. Okay. One of whom absolutely adored it, which I can definitely see why people enjoy it so much. It's definitely good. Like, objectively, it is a good music. It's just, I think I identified it that, like, as a musical, it needs some work, I think, which is why I'm hesitant to call it a musical, just personally speaking, because, like, I can admit that I don't know a whole lot about musicals, so maybe I'm entirely wrong about all of this. I really should have organized my thoughts more before I decided to talk about this, because I have so much to say about the whole thing. Because I think, like, constructive criticism ahead. Just know this is all coming from, like, a place of a lot of love. I love the music. It's super good. Doesn't really work as a musical, I think. Like, either add some more spoken dialogue, or possibly cut some songs or make some songs shorter, is what I would say is, like, the easiest thing to fix about it. Because I'm gonna compare it a lot to Hamilton and Hadestown, but, like, it works really because that's, I think, what it's trying to emulate, musical that's all music and uses unconventional musical music in it. So I think that's kind of what it's trying to emulate. So in order to do that, I think it takes a really, really skilled hand to really talk, like, but, like, I think the main issue it struggles with is having so many songs and all of them are super long. Oh my god. So, because I think that, like, it really either needs more spoken word dialogue or at least, like, cut down some songs. Because not every single song needs to be, like, 2.5 minutes or more. You know, like, I'm gonna compare it a lot to Hamilton and Hadestown, but, if it didn't want me to compare it to Hadestown and Hamilton, it shouldn't have been so close to those two, but, you know, in things like Hamilton, there is plenty of moments of, like, spoken dialogue, or if not that, really short songs. Like, I talked about this with a friend, and she shared my criticisms, where it's like, there are some moments that I think could just work better as spoken dialogue, or at least shortened, because you can have really, really effective songs that are really, really short. Because, you know, in Hamilton, you've got... Oh, okay. I'll chop some trees instead. But in Hamilton, you've got songs like Best of Wives and Best of Women, which I think arguably is one of the most, like, emotionally hitting songs in the entire album, and it's only like 46 seconds long. Like, you could have emotional impact while still having it be super short. Oh, I'm gonna grab some more dirt. You know what I mean? So, some songs could either be cut entirely and replaced with, like, spoken word dialogue, or just shortened a little bit. Like, I think the most egregious ones that kind of pop into my head personally is Open Arms and The Underworld. Like that. Not the Saga, the song. The Underworld. Confusingly titled. But, you know, because in that song, the final chorus always really throws me off a little bit, because, like, we just had this whole emotional moment of Odysseus, like, seeing his mom again, and it was super soft and heartfelt, and then it immediately bursts into, like, him screaming the chorus again. So that part always throws me off. So I think either they could cut the final chorus, or at the very least make it like a softer reprise of the chorus. And I just think that would be the simplest fix for that one. Me and my friend agreed on this as well, the friend that I was talking about that had all the similar criticisms as me, because we agreed that Polyphemus, the song, is probably one of the weakest ones, and we agreed that it should probably be more of like a dialogue, or yeah, it's a dialogue. Busting out my theater kid skills here. Yes, I do know what a dialogue is. But, you know, I think it just works better as, oh my goodness gracious. Like, I think it would just work better as a spoken dialogue between Orpheus and Polyphemus, and then you bust out Survive. And she also agreed, we agreed that I think some songs could honestly benefit from a little bit of rap, because, like, that was, I think, her main complaint, is that so many of the songs were, like, so slow, which, especially if you're trying to build, like, tension, like in the song Survive, where they're literally fighting for their lives, you might want to have it be a little faster. And I would disagree with her personally on saying, like, it needs to be rap, but at the very least it needs to be a fast-paced tempo, which can be done really, really well in musical theater, because, oh my goodness, a really good example, actually, is Into the Woods. They have a really, really great song right near the end, Your Fault. Excellent example of being a fast-paced, tension-filled song without being explicitly rap. Like, it can be done, definitely. But, you know, if you want to keep the unconventional music in a musical theme, then I would say personally do rap, but it can be done in musical theater. You know what I mean? That, like, oh man. Into the Woods, great musical, by the way. Check it out if you haven't. It's literally free on YouTube, and I recommend it to every single person who is interested in musicals. But, you know, that final song with all the 4 characters, ooh, good soup. You know, if you do something like that, like, I get that not everybody is super great at rapping. I can admit I am a white bitch. I can barely rap. So I can admit not everyone can rap or should rap, quite frankly, but at the very least, you don't have to hold every single note. You know, in Your Fault, it's like, it's super, super fast. Like, it isn't my fault I was given those beans, you persuaded me to trade away my cow for beans. Like, you can do something like that and have it be super fast paced without explicitly being rap, per se. You know? If that makes any sense. And I would also say, like, as much as it sucks to kill your darlings, sometimes it is necessary for the greater good, because I think another thing that the whole musical kind of struggles with is, like, emotion, if that makes any sense, because 9 times out of 10 in a musical, like, if it's not driving the plot, it has to be emotionally driven. Oh man, because like, it's such a good concept album. Like, as a concept album, it is super, super good. I like it more than I do the Hadestown concept album, quite frankly. That, like, it's an entirely different thing to make music and then put it on a stage. You know? But I think, like, quite frankly, the Ithaca Saga, I think the reason the Ithaca Saga is what ultimately won me over towards the whole musical is because it's so well done, especially in terms of being a musical. Like, it works the best as a musical format because, like, every single song either drives the plot or is emotionally driven. Okay? We're starting to... I think I've got most of my criticisms out of the way for the most part. So now we're getting into some of the praises that I could give to it, because I think that, oh man, the Ithaca Saga is really where they pick it up a whole new notch. Because even from, like, the first song, the challenge, like, that's Penelope's yearning for her husband for 20 years emotional build-up, you know? It's okay if the emotional build-up is off-screen, quite frankly. Like, I think some of the best emotional moments were built up off-screen, basically. Or essentially, you know, we don't get to see Penelope's whole side of the argument, but boy oh boy, we definitely get to see Odysseus's, you know. And then there's, like, the Hold Them Down leading directly into Odysseus. Ooh, that is such a good transition. Because that's literally the emotional moment, the emotional build-up, and then the response to that emotional build-up. But I think they have a really great leitmotif in the chanting of Odysseus's name that pops up on and off throughout the musical, but especially in that final Odysseus song where he's killing all the suitors. Because I think it's really well done. I don't know if this was on purpose, but if it was, this is an insanely smart move, because to me at least, the Odysseus chant sounds almost like the Dies Irae, which, a fun little factoid here, the Dies Irae is commonly associated with death, which is super, I don't know if they intended to do it that way, but oh man, if that was intentional, that is really, really well done, and I would love to see more of it, because really the way they sing Odysseus's name throughout the chant, oh man, that is so reminiscent of the Dies Irae. It's just, oh man, that ending song, so well done. The Wisdom Saga would be a good place to, like, cut it in half. Like, that feels like the proverbial start of a second act, you know? We start the entire first act, seeing Odysseus, seeing his struggles, and then cut to intermission, everyone goes in peace, and then we come back after the cliffhanger of not knowing what's gonna happen to Odysseus, only to see his son. Like, ooh, that would be good to audiences. I think they also need to make a little bit more use of foreshadowing, because, like, everyone knows the story of the Odyssey who's going to see the play, you know? So I think honestly keeping it to, like, animation would probably be the best way to go about it. Like, make an animated movie or something. Like, we should not see Penelope or Telemachus's face, because if it's Odysseus who is, like, yearning for them, he would probably, like, not be able to picture his son as a 20-year-old or even like a 10-year-old, you know? And it's possible that he would forget what Penelope looks like. So the only time that we as an audience see, like, the first time we as an audience see Penelope is during the Siren song, Suffering. But there's something inexplicably off about her, you know? Like, we as an audience can even tell there's something not quite right about her, you know? Sort of playing into that, like, I guess, theme that, like, you know, the sirens are just toying with Odysseus, basically. And then the first time we see Telemachus is during Legendary, obviously. But I don't think we should see Penelope even during that sequence. Hot take, I know. But I think the first time that we as an audience actually see Penelope is during the challenge. Man, I forgot that. This is why people don't let me ramble, because once I get going, I've been here for like at least 30 minutes, I want to say. Majority of this stream has been dedicated to Epic. Oh, but it's so good. And I want it to be better. Because I think, like, honestly, it has a really, really, really good first album, or saga, whatever you want to call them. Like, the Troy saga is super, super strong. Like, every single song either emotionally charged or furthers the plot in some kind of way. Except for Open Arms, but we kind of, yeah, that's setting up a theme for later. Like, you know, that's what again, they should play more with leitmotifs. Because Open Arms is kind of underutilized. It only shows up like 2 times after Polites' death. Which honestly they should make it happen more. You know? Track Odysseus's progress as he changes and grows as a person. Oh, I was supposed to be making... Hold on. I was making more slabs. Alright. That's on me. But, you know, that's what I mean by, like, they need to play a little bit more with leitmotifs. Because a lot of them are really underutilized. when there should be more. Like, I appreciate Just a Man, like that segment, playing as he is reuniting with Penelope for the first time in 20 years. Like, that's a good moment. That's a really good moment. But I think that it should be played a little bit more. You know? You get what I'm saying? And I think that also, like, I don't know why the choice was to do this, but I think some songs could also have, like, segments that are cut a little bit during Scylla's song. For some reason, I don't know why they did this, but right after she appears for the first time, and she says, like, hello, boys, or whatever, it has, like, a super long instrumental moment before Odysseus actually tells his men to retreat, which doesn't really make sense even from a musical or a narrative standpoint for me, because it's like, buddy, you are coming into contact with an absolutely monstrous beast. Why are you waiting so long to tell your men to go? What? Honey, please be serious. Yeah, no, most of this stream has accidentally been dedicated to Epic the Musical. Whoopsies. This is why you guys came here, right? To listen to me ramble insanely about things that I like. That's all that streaming is, really.